There are no such thing as 8-year-old champions. Hi, this is Goldsmith, and welcome to Sports Thoughts. Do you know, I've done a lot of videos, a lot of writing, a lot of interviews and podcasts over the years. The one video that gets the most feedback, positive and negative, I promise you it gets a lot of negatives. The one video that gets the most feedback is the one that starts with, there are no such thing as 8-year-old champions. And I get everything from coaches saying, that's great, Wayne, we totally agree with you, to some coaches and parents saying you're an idiot, and I'm used to that. Some parents and coaches telling me I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about, and everything in between. But the reality is, my friends, there is no such thing as an 8-year-old champion. There is no such thing as a 9-year-old genius, and there's no such thing as a 10-year-old wonder kid who's designed and destined to be the best in the world. All there is are kids who are young, who are playing sport, and who are learning to love playing sport. Remember, if they learn to love what they do, they will do what they love. They keep coming. And as I often love to say, the only kid who can't get better is the one who is not there. Parents, it is unbelievably important that you try to understand and accept this message. And don't keep classifying your 6-year-old as a future Olympian or someone who'll end up playing in the English Premier League because they've scored a few goals at 5. It is incredibly rare, and I'm talking incredibly rare, that a child who shows precocious talent, particularly under the age of 10 or 12, achieves a high level of success in that sport or in that position later in life. Our role isn't to overvalue, overprize and worship talent. Our job is to encourage all kids to fall in love with the experience of playing sport, learning about sport, enjoying sport, making friends, and above all, wanting to come back next week with a smile on their face and a song in their heart.
It's almost jarring when you see a college sports program that looks like it's got everything going for it.
Right.
The wins, the fans, the momentum, and then suddenly, poof, it's gone. It really makes you question the stability we kind of assume exists in NCAA athletics.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at this, unsettling trend of seemingly successful programs just being cut abruptly. We're focusing on two recent, pretty high-profile examples, the cut of both the men's and women's swimming and diving teams at Cal Poly, and the, frankly, equally surprising end of the men's volleyball program at Grand Canyon University.
Yeah, GCU. Wow.
There's a really passionate petition from the Cal Poly community that tells you a lot. Even some firsthand accounts that, really bring home the human side of these decisions.
Try to understand what it signals for college sports and, obviously, for the athletes themselves. Cal Poly. How do we even make sense of that one?
Well, the Cal Poly situation, it just hits you immediately because of the, total disconnect between how the program was doing and what happened.
ISO.
Their men's team, they just finished an undefeated season, first time ever for their division.
Undefeated.
They had multiple individual conference champs. The coach was named Conference Coach of the Year. And get this, the team also had the highest GPA among all men's sports at Cal Poly.
Okay, so academically, athletically, it sounds like they were firing on all cylinders. You'd think that makes them safe, right?
You absolutely would. That's what makes it so paradoxical. A program doing everything right suddenly gets the axe.
So what was the university's reason? They must have given one.
They did. The official line was a $450,000 loss, tied to those big NCAA settlements we've been hearing about.
For anyone listening who isn't tracking every single financial tremor in college sports, these settlements are basically legal deals the NCAA made, like about athlete compensation. And now universities are feeling the pinch in their athletic budgets.
The reaction at Cal Poly, the community response, it's been huge.
Like the GoFundMe.
Exactly. A GoFundMe popped up aiming for $200,000 to try and save the program. It's gotten some support. And they've promised refunds if the program doesn't get reinstated, which is, interesting. But relying on crowdfunding like this really shows a potential weakness in how some of these non-revenue sports are funded.
Yeah, $200,000 is a lot to raise fast, especially when you're talking about, nearly 60 athletes, 29 men, 29 women?
Roughly, yeah.
But here's the part that makes you really scratch your head. I read reports that the athletic director apparently said he wouldn't even take a $10 million donation to save the teams.
Yeah, That detail certainly raises some serious questions, doesn't it?
It really does.
If a huge potential endowment isn't the answer, it makes you think maybe the $450,000 shortfall isn't the only reason, or maybe not even the main one.
Right, like maybe there's a bigger strategic shift happening or a reevaluation of where they want to put their money long term.
And what's also telling, you mentioned fundraising, these teams already proved they could do it.
Oh,
Earlier in the season, the university apparently set them an $80,000 fundraising goal. The parents and alumni, they blew past it, exceeded the goal.
okay, so that really pushes back against the idea that this was just a sudden, unavoidable financial emergency.
It does. It really does. And the community engagement, the petition to save the program has thousands of signatures if you read the comments. Wow.
What are people saying?
A lot of disappointment, frustration. You really feel it.
Yeah.
One comment I saw questioned if GoFundMe is really sustainable long term and mentioned a separate, bigger effort to build a proper $10 million endowment.
Yeah.
Something that offers real stability, not just constant fundraising drives.
That makes sense. A more permanent solution.
And then there was another comment suggesting the budget thing might just be, a convenient excuse. This person felt it was like an attack on our sport.
Oof. Strong words.
Yeah, that kind of emotional language really shows how deep the connection is for these athletes and their supporters.
And it's brutal when you think about the individuals. Evan Yu, he transferred to Cal Poly for this program.
Right.
And the timing. Right after the coach gets Coach of the Year honors. It's just a gut punch.
Yeah.
Really shows the personal cost of these decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's pivot then. Grand Canyon University, cutting their men's volleyball program. What happened there?
Well, this is another one where, again, recent success just makes the decision seem baffling.
They were good too.
Very good. GCU men's volleyball just made the Final Four in 2024. Consistently high-level players, respected coaches. I mean, by all accounts, a program really performing at the top tier of the sport.
And how did they break the news? Was it handled better?
Reports say that coaches and players were told separately, and the coaches weren't even in the room for the initial player meeting.
Oh, man, you can just imagine the confusion, the anxiety that creates.
Totally. And what's also striking is the budget. We're talking about maybe $300,000 a year.
Which sounds like a lot, but in the context of a whole university athletic department.
It's relatively small potatoes compared to, say, football or basketball budgets. And this wasn't some ignored program playing in an empty gym.
They had fans.
Yeah, strong fan base, apparently. They were actually generating ticket revenue, had big crowds for matches against teams like USC, BYU, charged decent ticket prices, too.
Okay, so again, doesn't scream financial disaster on the surface. What did GCU say publicly?
The official statement mentioned, the rapidly evolving college athletics landscape and wanting to focus resources on their other sports. Kind of vague.
The standard boilerplate almost.
Very much. That settlement's probably going to force universities to share more revenue directly with athletes. Creates new financial pressures.
So the fear is they're using this as cover to cut sports that don't bring in big TV money, the non-revenue sports.
That seems to be the widespread suspicion. Unfortunately, it looks like some schools might be preemptively cutting these programs, blaming the changing landscape.
It's definitely a worrying trend. We even saw a player quoted somewhere saying they feel like universities only care about football and basketball now.
Yeah, that sentiment really highlights the vulnerability these Olympic sports are feeling.
Did any of the other official reasons make sense? Like conference changes?
Not really, no. Conference realignment wasn't a factor here. Their men's volleyball team played in a conference that sponsors the sport, even though GCU's other teams are in different conferences. That wasn't it. And plus, the team ran lean. Only 4.5 scholarships total. They were actually saving the university money compared to a fully funded program.
So, like Cal Poly, strong reaction from the volleyball community. Petitions, fundraising.
Yep. Social media campaigns, a change.org petition, GoFundMe efforts are all going, and there are even whispers about a potential lawsuit.
Really? Lawsuits have worked before.
Sometimes, yeah. Other cut Olympic sports programs have successfully used litigation, often Title IX arguments, to get reinstated, so that's possibly on the table.
Meanwhile, the players just left hanging.
Completely. They feel blindsided, disrespected. A lot have already hit the transfer portal, trying to figure out their next move academically and athletically.
And didn't the AD initially say something strange to them?
Reportedly, yeah. The athletic director apparently first told the players there was no good reason for the cut. The university tried to walk that back later, clarify it, but you can imagine how that initial comment landed.
Yeah, not great.
Well, I think what's becoming clearer and clearer is just how vulnerable these so-called non-revenue Olympic sports are right now?
Because the money changes.
Largely, yeah. The new financial pressures from settlements, the shifting landscape, it seems to be accelerating these kinds of cuts, and the immediate impact on the athletes, you just can't overstate it.
Yeah.
They dedicate years, make huge sacrifices, and then boom, their whole world gets turned upside down with almost no warning.
It also makes you think longer term, beyond just the current athletes. These programs, they're pipelines, right? For future coaches, for leaders in community sports, recreation.
That's a really critical point. If these college programs shrink, where does that next generation of coaches and sports leaders come from? It could have ripple effects for years.
Yeah, it really forces you to ask what we actually value about college sports beyond the big revenue stream.
These teams add so much to campus life. They build community. They teach incredible life lessons, whether they sell out stadiums or not.
And think about the kids, high school athletes dreaming of playing college sports. Every program cut means fewer spots, fewer opportunities for those dreams.
Right. It could genuinely impact participation and development in these sports down the line. And maybe the most, concerning thing is that these cuts aren't even necessarily about failure.
That's true. Both Cal Poly, swimming and diving, GCU men's volleyball, they were successful by pretty much any measure you could use.
Totally. Success in the pool, on the court, in the classroom, support from the community. It didn't save them. Which just makes these decisions feel kind of arbitrary almost, and really highlights the instability that even thriving programs can face right now.
We've looked at Cal Poly, we've looked at Grand Canyon, two really eye-opening examples that seem to point to this worrying instability hitting even successful NCAA programs.
Yeah, the suddenness, the shock, and the just profound impact on the student athletes. It's deeply concerning. It really makes you question the priority, the values driving decisions in college athletics today.
With this growing instability, what does it actually mean for the future of college sports, for the opportunities that young athletes hope for? It's bigger than just one or two teams, right?
Definitely. It forces a broader look at where college sports are headed.
We encourage you to stay informed as these crucial conversations unfold.
We've all seen the explosion of AI, and we've seen AI do incredible things. Things like write creative copy, write songs, write poems, write website information, write blog posts, write social media posts. The writing side of things is nothing short of incredible. Being able to reference specific information and write amazing things, create mind-bending images. Even some of those images are bent themselves, but those images can be created. And so now we can create images. We've been able to turn those images into video, even turning that video into like me avatars. So it looks like you're actually talking on camera with amazing programs that are out there where you can load a few minutes of recorded video, voice, and you have a talking avatar that sounds like you.